Howdy, my name is Henry, and today I'm going to show you the primary data type that Java has. So, as you know, Java has about 7 main data type. We have the string, char, int, long, float, doubles, and boolean. And today I'm going to show you each one of those character type and each one of those data type, and I'm going to show you what they do, how they function, and how they're used. So let's start with a string. So a string is basically a combination of a bunch of characters. They string together. That's why they call it a string. So to write a string variable, you follow a certain format just for about every statement. You start with the data type here, but you would write string with a capital S, space, and you would write the name of the variable that you want to use. Say, I want to write my name. I would just say name equal. The equals is assigning wherever values to the right side of the equal, right, wherever value to the right from the right at the right side of the equal sign to the name to the variable name. Because I want to have the variable name says my name, which is Henry, I will write double quote Henry. And do not forget the semicolon at the end. That is my string variable defined. That is the basic of a string. I will print this out later so I can show you what it looks like. So next up is a character. So unlike the string, a character could only contain one letter, well, one character. A character can be either a letter, a word, or a Unicode. Here, I will demonstrate this. So to write a car character, you have to instead of writing obviously string, you write car with what's that? Never mind. With a lowercase c. You say I would want to say I want to have my char variable name, let's say A. I put A and I put an equal sign, and to the right side of my equal sign I put wherever value I want. But it can only has one character. So I put A. Put A. This. I can also put a number. Of course the variable name does not have to be one letter. It can be number. And I put 1. It can also be a Unicode. Let's see, I'll put a random Unicode character and I'll see which word print 0089. Now for Unicode, yes, you have to do a backward slash and a U and then the for code at the end after the U. There is a website that you can search up on Google to find out which Unicode letter will print wherever character it is. And I would print all of this out so I can show to you in a bit. Unicode. Now, you notice that there's a little difference between string and character. That is, yes, I've stated before that character can only contain one character. However, another difference between the string and a character is the quote signs. See, the characters can only use the parentheses sign. Well, no, parentheses. The top comma. The top comma on both sides, while the single quote on both sides, while the string requires you to use the double quotes on both sides. You cannot use it interchangeably, which means that you cannot use a single quote on a string and you cannot use a double quote on a character. Next up is an int. An int is one of the most basic building block in Java. It's short for integer, which is literally just a number. Oh, a whole number. I mean that you can go from negative number, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and it can go on for almost infinity. However, in Java, int has a range. This integer has a range, and to define an integer, we'll just type int, all lowercase, say number, can use it, number int equal, say 1. And I can print it out later, say number int. And that will print out a value of 1. You can't, you can also do negative, -1, and this will not give an error, and it will print out the negative number. You can find out the maximum value. However, as I stated before, int has a maximum length, m has a maximum value, and has a minimum value. And you can find that out, you can figure it out by using the function integer max value. I will print it out. And minimum. Integer min value. Instead of waiting for everything to be done, I will print it right here. So I can show you the maximum and the minimum value of int. PowerShell. Okay. So to compile this file, first you have to do control. If you're on Windows, you have to do Control S. If you're on a Mac computer, it's probably it's Command S. Command S would be the command to save the file and compile to save the file. Now, after you've done saving, you have to compile the file. So you do jvac with a C, obviously, and type in the name of the file. So video1 Java. After that, simply just have to type Java and video1. You don't have to type the .java at the end. And show in here. So for the string, yes, it printed my name. My name is Henry. For the character, print A, number 1, Unicode. Sometimes Unicode is kind of iffy because sometimes the VS Code doesn't really know what the Unicode is. Like /U00A9 is a valid Unicode. However, sometimes VS Code just does not know what it looks like, and it will just print a question mark, which is expected. For int, I defined the number in as 1, it printed number in, and I have 1. I wanted -1, it print -1, there you go. Maximum. I print my maximum, which is around, say, 2,147 millions. And my minimum values is about the same amount, just negative, right? So next up, we have a long. Now, a long value is basically very similar to the int. The only difference is that it has a larger range. And I will demonstrate it here, similar to how I did how I found the max and the minimum value of integer. So long max equal long max value print it out. I probably should write something before this values to make it more clear. So, which is something else I can add. You can write a number and you can print a number together with letters. You just have to do something like you just have to add double quote uh, on the left side and the right side of the letters you want in the print line. And if you want to add something else that's like a number outside the print line, you have to do it outside of the double quote and you have to add a plus. Oops. Control S. I have to recompile it again because I just save it and it has a bunch of different code. So I say Java, then I can do Java, and there you go. You can see that long has a significantly larger amount of number, significantly larger range compared to an integer. That is their primary difference. Besides having a different data type when you have to define it. However, in most cases, when you're doing coding, having an integer should suffice, should be enough, unless you're dealing with some really big number in math. Then you will need a long, but most of the time, an integer value will be enough. Now, float. Float and double are different from int and long because they can contain a decimal place. I will demonstrate. Set that float number equals say 1. Let's see 0. Now, so for decimal place number, sometimes you just do 1.00. Some people also put f at the end just to make sure that just to say to whoever's reading the code that hey, this is a float number. Now, similar to int and long, float. So between float and double has a larger range compared to float. By a larger range, I mean that a double is more precise. It can contain more decimal places. And finding a double variable would be basically the same thing as I've done for the other variables. Say double number. D. Now, of course, you don't have to put an F or a D at the end after the full double. It just some people do that sometimes just to make sure that, hey, this is a float and this is a double number. I'll print this out. Yep. Control S. Oops. So you can see that they both print 1.0 because they can print decimal place now because they're floating values. However, if you're doing calculation with number with a really long decimal place like pi, actually that would be really good examples. I'm going to print pi, and we can see how many decimal places each will print from here. Control S. Oops. Huh. Oh, I forgot to change the name. And also, of course, when you see it previously, pi is defined as a double. Here I'm trying to turn it into a float, which is not really possible compared to Java when doing it in Java, unless you use some method of casting, which we haven't learned yet. So, however, however, you've seen the demonstration of how many of the numbers that float can handle. Well, it can handle decimal place. It can print some decimal place. Usually, it would print somewhere from 6 to 7 decimal place after the decimal dot. I'm just gonna turn this back to 1.0, something like that. While for the others, I'm just gonna print pi. Okay, what? Pi double. I forgot to change the name again. There you go. So, well, yes, float still print 1.0 because it sees the bunch of zero them put up after this and it says, yeah, it's still 1.0. Just gonna print 1.0 as short as you can. But for doubles, you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So a double variable double value will usually print 15 to 16 uh, digits after the decimal place. And of course, that is the main difference between a float and a double, is that a double is more precise. Well, more precise and it can print more decimal place. So last one's Boolean. So Boolean basically takes in two values, true or false. And I can print, and I can do something like, yeah, Boolean statement 1 equal, say I want to compare something. I want to say like, I want to check if 5 is bigger than 4. Obviously 5 is going to be bigger than 4, so this statement 1 is going to basically have the same value as true. Let's say about a second statement. I'm going to say I'm going to want to check if 3 is bigger than 4. Obviously 3 is not bigger than 4, so this is going to return false. I want to print now I want to print out the result. See if I'm right or not. See if Java say I'm dumb or I can do math. Control S, compile, Java, and true, false. Says true, false. There we go. I was right. I can do math now. And so can you. So that is basically the 7 data type in Java. You got string, char, int, long, float, double, and boolean. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.